This is the Leafs Convo. Norman James along with Mike Jello. I'm excited for the Maple Leafs and the 2019 portion of this season.
Yes, the Leafs have had remarkable success so far, second in the league, but they're going to be stuck at best in second place in the Atlantic Division because the team that's ahead of them in the league standings is the team ahead of them in the division standings, which is the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a 10-point gap. I think that's a bridge too far to make up unless there's some major injury with the Lightning, and anything can happen. But I'm just saying right now, the way that they're playing at the pace that they're playing, it's going to be tough to catch up to Tampa Bay. And if you look at the Atlantic Division standings, look who's in third place, the good old Boston Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you right now, this season will be based not on regular season success, although, them getting 110, 112 points will be all fine and dandy. It'll be based on playoff success. And if they lose in the first round, then I think there's going to be some heat directed at some of the players and at Mike Babcock because there's expectations here of this team making at least progress from what they've made the last few years. And a first round loss to Boston is not progress.
It's not going to go over well. This is the Leafs Convo. Norman James along with Mike Jello. Happy New Year. Do you like what you're listening to? Do you like what you're seeing on YouTube? If so, please subscribe. We need your subscription. We are trying to hit some goals, big goals for 2019, just like the Maple Leafs. Do you think the Leafs at this point thought the Tampa Bay Lightning would be as good as they are? Do you think the Lightning's success and their determination to just run the table and potentially win the Stanley Cup is going to affect the way the Maple Leafs deal? Maybe the Leafs feel like this isn't going to be the year and that going all in could be, a fool's recipe considering what Tampa's doing.
Managers have to prepare to improve their team to its utmost, no matter what the potential of who they match up with. So you don't know whether Tampa Bay is going to lose in the first round to the Islanders or whoever they face. If they're first overall and first in the Eastern Conference and they play the lowest wild card team, they could match up against Pittsburgh. They could match up against the Islanders, and those could be matchups that doesn't benefit them, and they could lose. So the Leafs can't say, okay, well, we're going into this with the mindset of we're going to lose to Tampa. But that being said, I think the Leafs have to prepare their team for who they may match up with. They may luck out and it may be Buffalo or Montreal, which are easier opponents. But if you look at what's happened over the last 4 or 5 weeks, Tampa Bay was without Vasilevsky. They did not. They were not phased. They had Louis Domingue in goal. They continued to win. Boston, over the last 5 or 6 weeks, was without Bergeron and Chara. Then they won 2 games in a row against Buffalo and Chicago, and they're back in third place. Now, Toronto has had their challenges. They were without Matthews for a month, so they faced the same thing. But, those teams are quality. The Leafs are quality, and it's going to be what team makes the best move or is playing the best going into the playoffs that is going to win. And I think Kyle Dubas before February 25th has some work to do.
Vancouver, Nashville, New Jersey on the road, Boston, Colorado at home, the Lightning in Florida, late in the month. Then it's Arizona, Washington at home. As many good players as you have. I don't care if you're on the road. I don't care if you're at home. I don't care if you're 10 points behind the first place team. I don't care if you're fighting off Boston. You should be able to build and grow according to your own timeline. And, if Mike Babcock's indicator means anything, this team is already in contention mode. So while we do pick and choose as to where the Leafs are accelerated, where they seem like they have a couple of deficiencies or they're a step behind, overall, this team really should control its own destiny. The Leafs still have an opportunity to make adjustments within, to make some acquisitions, to bring in players from outside of the organization. The foundation is there, Mike.
There are also, I would say, not external situations, but but again, I really believe, and I don't know, there was a commenter on Twitter, and it was pretty funny that it said, I wonder what Mike is going to write about after the Leafs get the top 4 defensemen, because then he'll be without his main subject. But
Then you go on to something else.
Right, exactly. But that the point is, and I think maybe I'm guilty of a little overemphasis, but I think it's for a reason. I think that's the main failing of this club right now. I mean, you look at their forwards, and even with injury, even with the loss of a Hyman, who's a key forward, even with the loss of Matthews, who's one of the best centers in the league, you are able to compensate for that, and you have enough depth up front to be able to forge forward. And Tavares has had a great year, and Marner's had a great year, and all those players. But on defense, God forbid if Morgan Riley goes down, or even if Jake Gardner goes down, who eats up the second most amount of minutes, this team is in trouble because the first answer is Martin Marincin. So that is why, like, I've been an advocate of them adding more than one defenseman, at least a depth guy like Edmonton added Alex Petrovic earlier this week. That was one of the guys on my list. But there are veteran depth defensemen you can add for a low mid-round draft pick. That they need that, and they need the top four defensemen to get to the level of Boston and Tampa Bay. So, I mean, again, that's the task in front of Kyle Dubas. He's got the cap space. He's got the assets. We'll see if he does the moves that everybody thinks they need to make.
What does Kyle Dubas have cooking in 2019? I'd like to know, and I hope it's good, because the Maple Leafs, I believe, are ready to eat. Others may not believe so, but man, why waste your opportunities to win a Stanley Cup? You don't have to sell the farm. You have to make some adjustments, but you can go do it. Forget about this nonsense. Well, they're not ready. What do you mean they're not ready? When are they ready? They should be ready now.